So, hi Rashmi, can you please introduce yourself for my audience?
Hello. I'm Rashmi Samant, and I recently graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. And I'm going to start pursuing my master's in energy systems at the University of Oxford this fall.
Oh,
That's
that's
about
really nice. And yeah, so guys, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, to start off with the first question. So, my first question is, so you already graduated from MIT this year. So, can you like briefly sum up your entire Manipal experience?
Okay. So, Manipal, like they say, it's an emotion. 4 years just flew by, and I'm sure you're going to feel it too when you graduate in 2 years. That where did time go? Well, I met some really amazing people, made some really great friends, and had a great experience. And I think I got to evolve a lot as a person because of the whole experience, the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere, and the whole structure, how it's structured here at MIT, the whole academic year, how it's structured, the activities. It just helped me evolve a lot and gave me like a great experience in general.
So, like, I agree with you with all of your points. And so, like, the course I'm doing in Manipal, it's actually a 2 year course. So, like, my journey in Manipal is also over. So, I
Oh,
can totally relate with you. Okay, so now coming to my next question, which is like, did you take this decision to study your master's abroad before joining Manipal, or did you take this decision while you were pursuing your degree at MIT?
well, I've always wanted to pursue my master's abroad. So it wasn't something I decided at MIT, but my experience there definitely influenced me in the country I picked, or the course I picked, or the university. So yeah, that had a general effect on that. But I was pretty much set on going abroad much before getting to MIT.
Oh, so that's really nice to hear. And even I've already applied to universities abroad for continuing my degree. And so my next question for you is like, how did you get into the University of Oxford in terms of the course requirements?
Okay, so I think everybody knows Oxford is a tier
Yeah.
one university. It was a continuous process of preparation, I would like to say. I've always wanted to get into a tier one university. I just didn't know it would be Oxford. So
Oh,
I started working on it right from the first semester. Uh, First thing that they look for, I mean, the first process that they do is they cut off people, they cut off applications who don't have a good GPA, basically. So you need
oh,
to have a good
oh,
CGP. But the requirement is not like super great. They don't expect you to be a 10 pointer or a 9 pointer. The cutoff is 8.5 for non-governmental institutions. Like if you're
okay,
not, they have a list of institutes for each country. And for India, that's IITs. So if you're from an
okay,
IIT, then an 8 CGPA would suffice. But since MIT does not come in that
hmm,
list, since we are private, the minimum requirement is an 8.5 CGPA. So it's
okay,
not too steep. It's still doable.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
you have to sacrifice everything and just like study
hmm,
all day. Not that steep, but yeah, that's the first basic requirement. Apart from that, they look at how well of a well-rounded individual you are. I mean, what other things you've done apart from getting that CGPA that was
hmm,
required to make the cut.
hmm,
So I think it ranges anywhere from good internships to maybe some research to extracurriculars that you've done in the 4 years. So anything and everything you've done before college is irrelevant. I mean, they don't really consider what you've done before you started your BTech unless you've done something of national level sports or something.
okay.
So those
So
things are
your
worth considering.
12th grade marks or your 10th grade marks, are they of importance?
I don't really think so. I mean,
Okay.
they weren't a criteria, and I mean, all the hype regarding, getting good marks
Yeah, yeah,
in tests, all the pressure we've had, it just seemed irrelevant during my application process. So they just look
yeah.
at your engineering CGPA. So, I mean, people who've done badly in your 12th and
Mm-hmm.
10th,
Yeah.
They still hope no one's going to look at it after a point. So it's just
So
what you do during your BTech. So try to be more diverse in your what you've done and like things like that. So in terms of requirement, I think that. And for tier one universities, for other universities, all you have to do is write an SOP, turn in your scores from IELTS or GRE or GMAT or whatever, and then turn in your CV and
hmm.
maybe a few recommendation letters. But for tier one universities, it almost always ends up with an interview. If you make
Oh.
pass all the other cutoffs, like if
Hmm.
they find your application attractive, if they find like maybe they can take you on as a prospective student, they invite you for an interview. So it's basically like a timed 20-minute interview wherein there's like a panel. At least for Oxford, it was a panel of two people, and one of them was a fellow of the Royal Society for like
Oh.
her great achievements in science. So I was like already nervous because I was sent a
Oh.
resume to people interviewing me. So, and then there was another professor at the same department. So it was a panel of two, basically academics, hardcore academics who specialize in the field that you're applying for your masters at. And then they give you like a topic. It's almost communicated to you a week in advance.
Okay.
They give you a topic, and then you're expected to like present, give a
Hmm.
short presentation, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, and then for follow up. There's always a follow up round of questions wherein half of them are basically based on whatever technical points you're trying to make, and the other half they just try to push you over the cliff a little and see how
Okay.
you handle stress. So yeah, that I think.
That sounds very right for Oxford standards. So
Right.
uh,
So it was almost that. And yeah, I think that there are like these three stages when it comes to tier one universities, like one stage more than other universities.
okay. So since you mentioned that you have always targeted tier one universities, so what other universities were you looking at?
I was initially looking at MIT, Stanford,
Okay.
and other universities in the US, but then I did not apply there because
Oh.
Oxford was the only tier one university I applied to. So I got a
Oh,
little busy with other
that's
things.
interesting.
So it's a very interesting story. I applied in January 2020. I applied almost long after most applications had closed.
Okay.
And so MIT and Stanford, their applications were closed by the time I even, started applying. So Oxford was the only one open. So like I had to apply. So yeah,
So
that's
you
how
you don't hear this often that you applied to just one tier one university and you got into that.
I got to that.
Generally,
Yeah.
when we hear about US students getting into US top universities, they always apply to like five or six Ivy League universities and they get into one or two. So yeah, I think that's
Right.
very interesting.
And also, I applied to like three universities in general. One was Oxford, which was like the most difficult thing for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Second one was more like a buffer university, that was TU Delft. And
Okay.
third one was like a safe university. I was pretty confident I was going to get into the third university. So this was like I had this
Okay.
standard
So you
set
had
for me.
backups.
I had backups,
Uh,
and thankfully I got into all three of them. So
oh,
it was a good experience. So apart from that, yeah, it was just three, and I couldn't actually apply to any of the US institutes because universities because I didn't have my GRE score at hand. European
okay.
universities don't need a GRE,
Yeah.
so that was like bingo.
So you hit all the right points. So
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It was a
So
miracle, I don't know, but it was a miracle that it worked out. But yeah, seems like I hit it all right.
on the similar lines, my next question is that like we all know that Oxford is one of the best universities in the world. So how would you say being in MIT or having the Manipal experience gave you an extra edge over the others?
Well, in Manipal, the thing is, you have a lot of universities, I mean, institutes within the campus that comes under MAHE. For instance, we have the School of European Studies, wherein they teach
Yeah,
you the languages, they teach you
yeah.
French, teach you
Mm.
German. in the evenings. So that's really very convenient for an MIT student to diversify his or her CV. So that is one thing. I did tap into that, and I really found that super beneficial. Apart from that, I think we benefit from local committees of really nice international organizations which help students to secure good international internships during their summer break. So that was one more point I think that Manipal does have that can benefit someone. And thirdly, I think at least in my department, we had some really old and experienced professors who worked out as great mentors in the end. So I felt that these were the three factors which MIT has and gave me an edge. In the end, it's just up to the student to pursue these
Okay.
opportunities. I mean, they're there,
Yeah.
but it's just up to you whether you go explore them or not. So I think it did give me an edge that I did explore these things.
Okay. So, like, if anyone is going to apply to foreign universities for their masters now, they have to take into account the COVID-19 situation right now. So, can you
Right.
just briefly tell like what's the situation in UK?
So it was, I got my acceptance I mean, I applied and got my acceptance like before the COVID pandemic really reached its peak.
Okay.
But the situation changed after that. Um, and right now, the thing in UK is the cases have come down. They are just
Hmm.
recording about 300 to 500 cases a day.
Okay.
From 5,000 cases a day, they've come down to 300 to
Okay.
500 cases a day. They've started to reopen. It's getting much better. And the university is very positive that they are reopening on time. That is October. All their semesters start in October, and they're very positive that they're going to start in October.
Okay.
So I would say it's looking up for prospective students, and I think you just have to. I mean, things are really uncertain.
Yeah.
It looks like it's definitely safer than India at the moment.
Yeah.
And if the skies open up, I think it would be prudent
Okay.
to move and start the semester.
Okay. Well, let's hope that everything is well and everyone can continue their regular schedules. But
Right.
obviously, like recently, the news came that all the US universities have shifted their entire year to online. So something like this has not taken place yet in or any university in UK or Australia or something, right? Do you
I
know
think
about
it's
that?
a misconception of sort because for prospective students, that is students who are starting their degree in
Hmm.
2020, all of them are given an option to defer in the
Okay.
US.
Yeah.
Only students who are currently in the
Already.
middle of
Okay.
their yeah, who are in the
Okay.
middle of their course, they have been shifted online. So I
Oh.
think it's
Okay.
a slight misconception that
Okay.
they're starting their semester online. Also regarding Cambridge, there was this news that Cambridge has shifted all classes online until May 2021,
Hmm.
which was again a misconception and misreporting by the media because Cambridge is not doing that. What they're doing is they
Okay.
are still opening up in October and students are still going there. And it's just
Okay.
that the classes with large number of students have been, shifted online. The one wherein you
Okay.
have the whole batch coming together, like those weekly ones kind of classes
Okay.
wherein you sit with the whole cohort. So those things are being shifted online, but one-to-one learning is still there.
Okay.
So I think it was a kind of misreporting or some kind of miscommunication that happened
Oh.
between.
So thanks for clearing that out. Like even I had those misconceptions. Even I read the news and I was
Right.
thinking that everything is shifted to online and everything. So now coming to my last question, which is what advice would you give to the freshers that are going to be joining MIT this year and they have the same goal as you basically that they want to get into tier one universities for their masters. So what should be their focus uh, on their journey in MIT?
I would like to tell them that stay true to yourself and be passionate and about what you want in life and pursue that. Just don't lose sight of what you ultimately want because it's easy to lose sight of your goals in college because it's a different setting. You're there with your friends and you're staying at a hostel and the whole parental supervision is off. So it's quite easy for people to just lose sight of their goal. But it won't work out if you do that, because a tier one university is basically getting in there is a culmination of all 4 years of your graduate undergraduate degree. It's not something you can just wake up one day and then decide that you're
Yeah.
going to get into
Yeah.
somewhere. So don't lose sight. Stay true to yourself. Stay original. Don't try to copy someone's journey, but you can always take a lesson from somebody else's journey, but don't try to exactly copy what somebody did, because your personality is different and you can
Mm.
probably perform well in whatever you're interested at. But at the same time, don't get consumed by the whole aspect of getting into a tier one university. Enjoy Manipal, and you will regret if you don't
Yeah, right.
really enjoy. So enjoy. Don't take yourself too seriously. At the same time, don't just throw everything away. So I would like to say that maintain that balance, and just have a good time while staying true to yourself.
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
that's a really good piece of advice and will definitely help all the freshers watching this video. So I think that's it. And thank you, Rashmi, for joining me today and answering all the questions so nicely. And guys, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. So yeah,
okay. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me and getting me on this interview. It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
thank you.